Hello, my name is Marco, and today I'll be explaining to you the cardiovascular system and why it is so important to us. So the entirety of the cardiovascular system consists of blood vessels and the heart. The composition of the cardiovascular system is essentially made up of three types of vessels, the first being arteries, which are going to carry blood away from the heart to permit the exchange of materials with tissues. We have the second type of blood vessels called capillaries. The final type of blood vessel we have are the veins, which are used to carry blood into the heart, the opposite of what the arteries work to accomplish, as mentioned earlier. The main and most important component of the cardiovascular system is the heart, which is the organ that is going to carry oxygen through blood to every cell in your body. I'm now going to explain each different part of the cardiovascular system, starting with the arteries. The arteries have three layers. Starting with the innermost layer, we have the endothelium, a major actor in the regulation of immunology, inflammation and angiogenesis, and an important metabolizing and endocrine organ. In the middle of the artery, we have the thickest layer, which contains smooth muscle, often referred to as the tunica media. This section of the artery is going to work to regulate the internal diameter of the vessel and has a endothelial lining, which provides a frictionless pathway for the movement of blood. And by regulate, I mean that it can get tighter or more open as needed. For example, if you were sitting versus running. If you were sitting, your blood vessels may not be as open as compared to if you were running, because you don't need as much blood flow to sit as if you were running. Sit compared to running. Moving on to the final and externalmost layer of the artery, we have the tunica externa. This one is important because it's going to attach the vessel to the surrounding tissue in order to hold it in place, also while providing a limit to how much the blood vessel can expand. Without this, if your blood pressure were to raise too high, you'd be in more danger than you likely already are, because you don't want your blood vessels to expand too far out, because that could lead to them bursting. Arteries are very important in the cardiovascular system due to the transportation of oxygen, nutrients, and hormones throughout the entire body. And our largest artery is known as the aorta, which is going to carry oxygen-rich blood from the heart to other parts of the body. There are many other arteries in the body for different parts and functions. However, it is most important to note that the aorta is the most prominent artery we have. Moving on to the capillaries, the next major part of the cardiovascular system. The capillaries join arterioles to venules and are extremely narrow with thin walls of a single layer of endothelium. Capillaries are organized into networks called capillary beds, which are present in nearly every region of the body. One of the major functions of these capillaries are to regulate homeostasis inside of the body by the exchange of substances across their thin walls. For example, oxygen and nutrients diffuse out, while waste and carbon dioxide diffuse in. This function helps get rid of excess fluid picked up by the lymphatic system as well. The capillary beds essentially function by opening up in areas of the body that they are presently needed in. Simply put, if you eat something, then most of the capillary beds that serve the digestive system are going to fire up and get to work, which means that blood is then sent to that area. After the purpose is served in that area, the blood eventually makes its return to the heart again. There isn't just a single type of capillary. We have the continuous capillary, the fenestrated capillary, and the sinusoidal capillary. The continuous capillaries are enclosed and have no perforations inside of them, mostly present in muscle tissue, skin, fat, and nerve tissue. Fenestrated capillaries have small pores that allow nutrients to pass through their walls, mostly located in intestines, kidneys, and the endocrine glands. Sinusoidal capillaries have large open pores that blood cells can easily pass through. This function serves the purpose of filtering defective cells from the blood, and this is mostly present in the liver, lymph nodes, and the spleen. The next most important component of the cardiovascular system I'm going to be talking about today are the veins. Veins and venules are technically separate from the function of the heart, despite what most people believe. Unlike the arteries, the blood flow in the veins is not kept moving by the pumping of the heart. Some veins even have valves to prevent backflow of blood and direct blood flow towards the heart. The flow of blood inside the veins is primarily dependent on skeletal muscle contraction. What these veins are going to function to do is bring blood that is deoxygenated back to the heart for it to become oxygenated again by sending it to the lungs. It is also important to note that due to damage, aging, or disease, blood pooling inside the veins may occur. This will cause them to expand and become more visible at the surface of the skin. This can be seen as varicose veins, or when you're working out and you have veins that pop out, this is because your veins are becoming more filled with blood. The largest veins are the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. And the system of veins in the body can serve as a blood reservoir that can hold up to 70% of your blood at any point needed. The final and most necessary component of the cardiovascular system is the heart. The heart consists of three parts: the myocardium, the pericardium, and the endocardium. The myocardium is the major portion of the heart and contains mostly cardiac muscle. The pericardium is the serous membrane that surrounds the heart. The endocardium is the part of the heart that lines the inner surface of the heart, which is a membrane consisting of connective tissue and endothelium. Moving inside of the heart, we have a wall called a septum that separates the right and left sides of the heart and has 4 chambers. The 4 chambers we have are the 2 atria, which are thin-walled and pump blood to the ventricles, and the 2 ventricles that are thick-walled and pump blood to the lungs as well as the rest of your body. It is also good to know that each heartbeat is referred to as a cardiac cycle, essentially a contraction and relaxation of the heart muscle. Now, there are many problematic diseases that can occur within the cardiovascular system if you were not to take care of it properly, such as a stroke, which is caused by an arteriole in the brain bursting or being blocked for far too long. Some warning signs include numbness in the body, difficulty speaking, temporary blindness in one eye, and such. Another serious complication is known as the heart attack, which is when a coronary artery becomes completely blocked and a portion of the heart is deprived of oxygen, which is not good. Although less common than a stroke or heart attack, we have an aneurysm. This is going to occur mainly when a blood vessel balloons. This is going to occur most often in arteries that lead to the brain. Operations such as a synthetic graft can be used to replace this damaged part of a blood vessel. Thank you for listening to my speech, and that is about the cardiovascular system. Thank you.